Right, ladies and gentlemen, MrSotko here. Welcome back to the channel. Got a whole bunch of good crypto news stuff for you today. Unfortunately, the market not looking too hot today. There was a big dump all over the place. And we have been at relatively the same price for quite some time. So that's why I'm going to bring up this article here. 5 reasons for the stagnation, which some of them I agree with and some of them not so much. So in one way, a stable coin is a good coin because then it's better to buy and sell in it, you know, and receive things in crypto and also buy things in crypto, because when it's too volatile, if you go to buy something and it goes way up in price, well, you probably shouldn't have spent it because now it's worth way more. And the same goes for the receiver. If they sell a product and receive Bitcoin or something like that, and then it goes way down in price, ouch, because now it's going to be hard for them to get even more product to sell even more product. So, you know, in one way it's good, and the other way it's not good for traders, because if it's not going up in price, then it's a little harder to trade, but you can still get those intraday dips. So let's go into the reasons that are stated in the article here. It starts to say that Bitcoin was used as a store of wealth in the past when its price remained relatively predictable. For years, Bitcoin had periods of long stability following wide swings of the first half of 2018. It seems now Bitcoin prices have been locked within a very tight range, which is true. The effects of the conditions are manifold, from increasing the incentive to use Bitcoin as a form of alternative savings account to abandoning the markets altogether, which again, I don't really agree with that, because if Bitcoin is at a stable price, then it's actually better to buy and sell things in it, because that's, you know, what we have to realize is that Bitcoin is a currency first and foremost. It's supposed to be a currency. I'm supposed to be able to give you $10 in Bitcoin, and then you can take that $10 in Bitcoin and then buy something else with it. But if I give you, you know, Bitcoin, and then you receive it and it goes down threefold, now you're not able to buy anything, and you just essentially sold something for way less than you should have, and that's not really good. So again, you can look at it both ways. Volatility is fun for trading and making money, but volatility is really bad for actually using it as a currency. So one of the reasons here stated is Tether is leaving the market. So when Tether tokens left the markets, the volatility of Tether decreased markedly. Tether speculation was one of the sources which caused BTC prices to move more actively. And again, I agree with that. However, I also want to say that I think a lot of things that brought Bitcoin up in price was just the hype and people promoting it. I mean, even on YouTube's forum, anything like that. You know, BitConnect and Genesis mining. Because remember, with BitConnect, you had to buy Bitcoin, then give them Bitcoin, receive BitConnect, and then somehow give them back the BitConnect so that they can invest that BitConnect, which was like the ultimate scam I've ever seen. But a lot of those reasons were what made Bitcoin explode in price. Now that the Treasury wallet has taken back more than 1 billion coins and burned 500 million of them, which, yeah, I highly doubt that. Speculation on Bitfinex has slowed down, spreading across the markets. Second reason here is that altcoins taking over speculation, and this one's a little, Volatility may have been removed from Bitcoin, but for the sake of speculation, altcoins are always available. With stabilized BTC prices, the potential to trade altcoins and get more BTC earnings is a source of gains. Altcoins are charting their separate paths, and some are on a downward trend, but there is always room for speculation against Bitcoin. Well, I kind of disagree with this, and the reason why is because we can see the Bitcoin dominance is at 54%, when it used to be just like 30% when all the alts were really high in price. So if that were to be the case, of people buying altcoins, you know, and essentially, you know, altcoins taking over speculation, then altcoins would be going up and Bitcoin would be going down, which you can see everything went down today for the most part, but Bitcoin isn't going anywhere. And in fact, altcoins are going down. As we can see, Ripple at 43 cents, Ethereum all the way down under $200. Litecoin under $50 now, EOS down to $5, and Bitcoin dominance at 54%. So if anything, Bitcoin lost less of its value than other altcoins, so I kind of disagree with that. A self-fulfilling prophecy, there's simply not enough enthusiasm and belief in a year-end rally, hence no one is really interested in bidding for Bitcoin, having no more sense of FOMO as in the past months. Additionally, there are still expectations Bitcoin prices may crash lower under 5,000 and perhaps even under 4,000, which would be extremely, extremely bad for Bitcoin. A lot of people would have to shut off their miners at that point, including like big operations. The lack of hope for returns, one of the most appealing qualities of volatile Bitcoin price behavior, is causing fewer traders to bet on fast increases, which I definitely agree with that. If you guys remember the end of 2017 and the very beginning of 2018, there were lots of price predictions on Bitcoin, and some people were saying 50,000, some people were saying 60,000, some people were even saying 100,000 or more by the end of this year. Even myself, I made a price prediction video, and it was more just like not really based off of anything, pretty much like every other price prediction is. It was just for fun, just to see if I was correct at the end of the year, and I don't think I will be, unfortunately. I said 25,000 to 35,000, which was a very conservative estimate compared to some people's like ridiculous $60,000. So I don't think anybody's price predictions are going to be correct by the end of the year, and everybody's price predictions are now changing to even lower. So that creates a pretty bad sentiment. So lower Bitcoin usage for months now. The use of Bitcoin network has been extremely low. Transactions as usual are mostly for moving funds to exchanges. Analysts are noticing that Bitcoin holders are getting into savings mode, with much less of the coin being used for its intended purpose as a means of payment. One of the reasons is that the status of Bitcoin transactions is a legal conundrum. Dark markets are moving towards privacy coins, including Monero, and the share of BTC is lower. One of the reasons is that law enforcement and even ordinary users are scrutinizing the record of wallets and making corrections to infamous addresses. So, again, where I get to in terms of talking about making Bitcoin a means of payment, which is what it's supposed to be, it's a currency after all, which I think some people on a daily basis forget that. And I don't mean that in a bad way, and I'm not trying to rip on anybody that forgets that, but it is. Just remember that. So people are using it less as a payment now, which, again, makes no sense because Bitcoin is relative. Although looking at this, you might say, well, what do you mean it's stable? But as you can take a look at the price, and you can see it's been very, very stable for quite a while now. If we just go to the year, we can see, look, it's been relatively stable. And if you look at the year, like the all, you can see that it just, wow, it's just not. So this has been, relatively stable for a good while now. I suppose you could interpret that a lot of ways. And this is actually a good time to be spending your Bitcoin, because if you spend your Bitcoin or you receive Bitcoin, it's going to stay at the same price, and you can actually just take that Bitcoin and then buy something else with it, or restock your shelves if you're a business or something like that, as opposed to when you were accepting everybody was spending Bitcoin when it was at $20,000 and spending $50 at a time, $30 per transaction just to buy something very simple. Or if you were a business and accepting it when it was at $20,000 and now it's worth $6,000 and now you're totally screwed. So mining equilibrium achieved. Miners are currently happy with the reward of 12.5 Bitcoin at prices near 6,500. I disagree with that because the higher the price of Bitcoin, the better it is, really. And then the more people that spend it, and then, better rewards for miners. So some mining farms have their break lower than that. The current BTC prices even work for some cloud mining schemes, which no, I mean, Genesis Mining and Hashflare are not paying out right now, so no, it doesn't. So I just can't agree with that. Until the halving of the reward in about 2 years, most miners will be happy to store up rewards and support their operations while waiting for the halving, which may boost BTC prices, which it most likely will. So those are just a few reasons for the article creator, and I really have to disagree with about half of that. But for the most part, it's fairly on point, but I suppose they could be worded in quite a different way to make them, at least in my opinion, a little bit more viable. But Either way. Moving on to the next article. Crypto markets see stirring of volatilities. Major coins tip into the red. So this is just a real quick one. This is mostly some like TA and stuff talking about how prices have been lost. But Bitcoin's trading at 6,300 at this time, seeing an almost 2% loss on the day, having traded sideways through the week. The top coin today saw a vertiginous price drop, plummeting from its 6,480 trading range down to around 6,350. Earlier this month, Bitcoin had achieved a 17-month low volatility rate, recording its highest level of stability since mid-2017. The trend had continued over recent weeks, excepting one short-lived spike. Volatility and the lack thereof had become a staple on crypto Twitter, and prominent crypto commentators quick to underscore Bitcoin's new quasi-stable status. So hey, stock jocks, tell me again how Bitcoin isn't a stable store of wealth due to extreme volatility. Somebody jokes. So again, it's relatively stable right now, and nobody's spending it. So nobody spends it when it's stable, when you're actually supposed to. Nobody buys it when it's at a very low price, when you should be buying it so that you can sell it at a high price. And everybody buys it when it's $15,000, $16,000, $17,000 because it's moving up quickly. Okay. Oh my God. Okay, guys. This isn't how you do this. Okay. When it's stable, it's a good currency, and you should be spending it. When it's really, really, really high in price, it's not a very good currency, just because it costs so much for transactions, because so many people are spending it and moving it around. But I get it, though. In the end, I get it, because when it's really moving up in price, it creates a lot of FOMO. It creates a lot of hype. Oh, wow, if I just buy in now, in 2 weeks, it'll be worth twice the price. Of course they're going to buy in then. But nobody's buying in now when they could get 3 times the price or 4 times the price when it actually goes up. And instead, everybody just wants to buy in when it's really, really late. So you can see here, everything is in the red, basically. Let's go back to CoinMarketCap here real quick and just show you. So we have a few coins in green. Good old Walton Chain is in there. But for the most part, everything else is in the red, at least in the top 100 coins. So moving on to the next article here. Chinese court confirms crypto is property. So Chinese citizens and merchants are legally allowed to own and transfer cryptocurrency. The Shenzhen Court of International Arbitration has affirmed that digital assets, specifically Bitcoin and several of its hard forks, are considered legal property by the current laws of the People's Republic of China. So property.currency, the court's ruling was on a dispute that involved a business contract in relation to the possession and transfer of digital assets. The defendant in the case argued that the ban for the People's Bank of China on crypto trading and ICOs, as well as the lack of venues to trade and transfer digital assets to the plaintiff, rendered a contract between the defendant and the plaintiff invalid. So, mind you, this is a small case, but when a court, the way it kind of goes is that when a court, makes a decision on something, even a really small case, it pretty much permanently makes that decision for all other cases. Because, hey, if this guy won because of it, shouldn't I as well? Well, the answer is usually yes, if your situation is very similar to that person as well. Even if it wasn't before that, when that person won, now I should win too. So that's usually the way that court goes, at least in the United States. I'm not particularly familiar with the laws of China. So this is a win for Bitcoin and China itself, because now it's property. And, maybe someday China will reverse its ban on crypto exchanges and things like that. And when that happens, new crypto exchanges will pop up in China, and massive millions, billions of people will be able to access these exchanges and start buying Bitcoin again through those particular channels and raise the price of crypto. Because if you weren't aware, back in September of 2017, Bitcoin was nearly at 5,000. It was like 4,900 and something. But you can basically say 5,000, and then a news article came out and basically said that China was a lot of news articles came out that China banned crypto exchanges, and Bitcoin plummeted. I remember Litecoin being at like $92, and it plummeted back to like $30. Bitcoin went from 5,000 to 3,000, and that's a big drop. regardless if it's only being $2,000 from the drop of 20,000 to 6,000. So it was a bigger drop of 20 to 6, but it was still a pretty incredible drop. Nearly half the entire price just wiped out because of that bad news. So when that comes back, we could expect a massive growth of Bitcoin if it ever does. So interesting news, a step in the right direction for China. Naga Card is here. So now I'm not really a big fan of Naga Card or anything like that. It's not like a paid thing. I did make a video, an ICO video on Naga, and believe me, I did not get paid for that video other than the views of people watching it, I suppose. I probably should have, now that I think about that in retrospect. Either way, so this is just an interesting thing that I would like to show you guys. So the Naga Card account comes with a sleek, user-friendly dashboard which provides cardholders with the perfect place for transferring funds. Account management is even made easier thanks to integration with the My Naga member area. So we'll talk about this in just a second, you know, in whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. So the card is directly linked to the user's trading account, allowing for fast and easy deposits and withdrawals. Perhaps the most importantly, Naga Card features robust security measures. So Naga Card may be used anywhere MasterCard is accepted, which is virtually everywhere, which is more or less anywhere that accepts MasterCard credit debit cards. The card can be also used to withdraw British pounds, euros, and US dollars from ATMs around the world. It is important to note, however, that although the cards have been released for use, they are currently only available to Naga subscribers who are in the SEPA region, which I honestly have no clue what that means. But you can see it costs a little money to buy the card. Like, it costs like a few bucks to actually buy the card, but then you have to pay a one-time fee as well, which is kind of lame. But this is a step in the right direction for crypto, in my opinion. So I can get, if you're one of the kind of people that say this is a bad thing and this is kind of what crypto is not for, because MasterCard is extremely centralized. Visa and MasterCard and those things are very, very, very centralized, but extremely fast, and can keep up with Black Friday and Christmas and the extremely high demand purchasing times. Whereas crypto just cannot. So this is a great way. So this has been a thing that has been kind of coming out slowly in the crypto world. I remember there was supposed to be Light Pay, where you would be able to load your Litecoin on a Visa card, and then so if you go to a store and it's like, oh, they're like, okay, that'll be $10. You just swipe your card and it takes $10 of your Litecoin and then sort of just transfers that into fiat for the business owner, because the business owner might not want Litecoin, and that's okay. Maybe they should though. But either way, if they don't want Litecoin, you know, then they're not going to accept it, right? So it's a really good idea to have a fungibility in crypto to fiat. And now I know that kind of defeats some of the purpose of crypto, that you shouldn't be using fiat at all and just crypto, and that's kind of the point of it. But in order to really move things along and create a sense of fungibility for crypto, you know, a transfer into fiat is a pretty good idea. So I enjoy these sort of things that come out. It really technologically moves crypto forward, in my opinion. So moving on, rumors of an exit scam swirl as Maple Exchange loses funds in a hack. So Maple Exchange is a small Canadian cryptocurrency exchange. It has ceased operations following the purported theft of all the funds it was holding. Despite promises of an investigation into the matter, many have accused the exchange of attempting to stage an exit scam. Well, that always happens when an exchange or some kind of service loses all their coin. Everybody just says it's an exit scam, or that it was an inside job, and nobody ever has proof of that. But if there is proof, I'll certainly go along with that. So, Canadian exchange drained of holdings. Maple Exchange took to Twitter to announce the hack, which took place one day after it had concluded maintenance to revamp its website. It claimed that due to a bug, some people have managed to withdraw all the funds it had been holding. A bug. The exchange said it had launched a thorough investigation and insisted that it couldn't offer refunds to customers until it had concluded its probe. We are extremely sorry that it's come to an end like this, it added. Some sites claimed that Maple Exchange had deleted the initial tweet within an hour, along with its Telegram and Discord accounts. Those reports cited another tweet from the exchange stating that it would cease business and shut down its social media presence because it had been completely drained of its funds and was left unable to pay customers back. So just because you were drained of all your funds shouldn't mean that you shut down all your social media. That looks really bad. partial refunds. However, Maple Exchange returned to Twitter 5 hours after it was reported the hack, amid widespread accusation that it was staging an exit cam. We have not disappeared, it said. We simply turned off our accounts temporarily to think this solution through. Why would you need to turn off your accounts temporarily? Just don't get on them, or just think it through while people are still chatting. Like, why? You know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't necessitate like turning off your account to think something through. So there was a significant trading spike prior to the hack. Maple Exchange saw a significant spike in trade volume in the week preceding the hack. After posting daily trade volume between $2,000 and $3,000 for the majority of the second and third weeks of October, it bounced between 10 and 65,000 in the days leading up to the hack, before falling to roughly 5,000 during the website maintenance period. At the time, the purported hack, CCX to BTC and LMO to LTC were the two most traded pairings on Maple Exchange. The company had since pledged to transfer all the coins it still possesses back to the coin developers at the time of this writing. It said that it already returned funds to Lumineo and Carbon Credit Coin. Maple Exchange first launched the LTC CCX pairing on October 11th. Amazing volume today, thanks to LMO. And make sure to grab a boatload for yourself. It also introduced XMR, CCX pairing on October 2nd. So we'll have to see what happens with that. If there's any other big news about this, I will let you know. But this was a very small exchange. So I still wouldn't want to lose my funds even if I had them on a very small exchange. But at least it wasn't like Binance or Coinbase or Poloniex or Bittrex or something like that lost all of their coins. That would be a major disaster. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as usual, I will see you guys next time.